Hello everybody, welcome to this video where I'm going to be speaking a little bit on how to problematize. And problematization is an interesting topic because basically it gives you class or style, right? So you may say, you may talk about a topic such as when you have a presentation or when you make a YouTube video, for instance. How can you start the video? Well, I can, a lot of people will tell you, or a lot of things on the internet say, make a joke, use a factual statistic, tell a story, right? Like all these type of strategies or methodologies that you can use to kind of get people to pay attention to you, right? And to listen to you from the beginning, from the get-go. But what if that's not enough, right? What if that's not something that will engage people? Or what if you don't have those abilities or you haven't practiced them, right? Because there are limits to that. At times there may even be contradictions, because if you tell a story, are you really going to entertain? Are you like a comedian or a clown or an actor? Or, are you in a play? Are you going to entertain people? Or are you there to talk about what you're going to talk about the serious stuff, right? So that contradiction, leaves us, and the limitations of the strategies also leaves us wanting another answer. So what is the other answer? Well, the other answer is to problematize. And problematization basically is using something that is close to the topic at hand, right? And finding its limitations, its exceptions, and its contradictions, and then having that strategy, or having that contradiction, limitation, expectations lead you naturally to the topic, right? In this case, what's the alternative? What's the solution for this? It's this one, right? It's the new topic, but the new topic is really your goal, right? It's just that you don't come out and say it. So it's a technique of class, of style, right? To open something up. If you notice, I just kind of did it right now, where I was talking about the strategies and how they may not be enough, right? So I was detecting their limitations, exceptions, and contradictions. And then I come out and say problematization. I know I said it in the beginning, but that was just like an example of how you can do it. There are, of course, other ways, right? You can use if hypotheticals. So if hypotheticals, I've been reading some books where they say, if you want to make the sale, use if hypotheticals, right? So you don't come out and tell the person like, can you afford this house? You tell them like, if you were to want this house, could you afford it, right? So then if it's all hypothetical, hypothetical is a dangerous terrain, because you say you say, well, it's not real, right? It's all hypothetical, but at the same time, psychologically, your mind doesn't distinguish between hypothetical and real, right? You're thinking already about it, and it's something that, it's probably going to happen now because it's already in your mind. So it's a way of getting in people's minds, right? Using if hypotheticals, like if you were to do this, like what would happen, right? So there's that strategy too, to problematize like a topic, right? Problematization ultimately means that you strip away and analyze that topic, right? Excuse me. So if you want to teach, let's say, past simple, right? You could problematize past simple, but then you would actually leave past simple and go into a different terrain, right? Let me give you that example. Like you say, okay, past simple is for narration, right? But it's all narration in past. What about present narration? What about when you say, I went to the store yesterday and I bought a milkshake, and then when I was, on the street, I saw my friend, and he comes over and he tells me like, check this out, right? And then you start speaking in present, right? So it's a good way in this case, like, to use the past and detect its limitations, exceptions, and contradictions, and then talk about the present narrative. So, but my goal isn't to teach the present narrative, it's to teach the past simple. So I have to work backwards. Maybe I can teach, or maybe I can start talking about the present narrative or the present, right? And say, well, what if, the present is for routines. Okay, I go to the gym every day at 7 a.m. or whatever. But what happens if this routine, I no longer do it? What happens if this was something I did last year? How would I say that, right? Then you detect the limitations of present, right? You problematize the present, and that ultimately leads you guidedly, right? Like with a plan, to the past, right? And then now you enter the past elegantly, with class, with style, right? So another thing you can do is like say, is it always true, right? If you say, well, the present can be used for routines, right? Or it could be used, is it always true? What about routines in the past, right? What about routines I did last month, or routines I was doing last year, right? What then? So that's always something you can use. Is it always true? Is it never like this? Is it, are you sure? Like, you really analyze, criticize, and dissect the topic, right? Another technique is to use opposites. When you use opposites, you're basically finding the contradiction, right? Like in this case, always, never, right? So you, instead of starting with the topic that you want to talk about and problematizing that, you have to find first a relevant topic, a topic that is related to it, but not so much, right? Like for example, with comparatives, you want to teach comparatives, right? A cheetah is faster than a rabbit. In this case, you could start with adjectives, right? And you could say, well, what are adjectives? Blue, big, fast. Okay, can I say a cheetah is fast, right? Yes. But what if I want to compare a cheetah and a rabbit? How do I do that? Oh, well, then elegantly you enter into that terrain of comparatives, right? Using adjectives. That would be another way of going out to go back in, right? So all of this, you need to plan it. It's not, or you could try it out spontaneously, but you need to think about the idea on the spot, right? Another way is common real life situations or problems. This is context based. So you really need to put yourself in that position, or you really need to put people in that position, right? Let's say for any type of English teaching, you can basically use the context example of, okay, imagine you're in the US or you're in an English speaking country and you need to do these things, right? You need to buy an airplane ticket, get on the airplane. How are you going to do that? How are you going to communicate? Or you're at a store and you need to get these things for a cake, right? These ingredients. How are you going to do that? So context-based real life situations and common real life situations, could help people also situate themselves in the topic that you want to teach. So yeah, these are just a couple of ideas. The main thing is you need to think of something related to the topic, right? Talk about that topic first, analyze it, deconstruct it, right? Break it down, criticize it, find its contradictions, its exceptions, and its limitations. And once you do that, guide yourself out of there and towards the main topic you want to talk about, right? So that's all I got for this video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Peace.